Everyone, today we'll be looking into how to convert plain form of verbs into its past tense. That is 과거형 or 과거 시제. So this is in page number 77 of the material given in the description box. So coming to our 동사. 동사 is verbs. So the first conjugation rule is, suppose you don't have any button for your 동사. And what you would do is, in the place of that bachim, you would add 상시읒 as bachim, and then the da at the end, of course, you have it there, and that goes. So gada would become khatta. So you're adding just a 상시읒 as bachim there, and the da stays there. That is for the written form. So that's how it goes. But there's an exception to this rule, that is, if you have the vowel u at its last character, then instead of adding sangshet as bachim, you would rather just add otta as the end, that is, as the next two syllables. If you see the examples given here, you would understand better. Sada. Sada becomes satta. 서다, 섰다, 자다, 잤다, 잘하다, 잘았다. But then these two, you have u as the vowel here. So what you would do is, you would take the da off, and in that place you would add otta. So tuda, tuotta, juda, juotta. Juotta can also be jotta. And another one is hada. Hada would become hetta. This is also an exception. Every 동사 that has hada at the end, or simply hada coming alone, that would change to hetta. Suppose 원하다. 원하다 means want. 원하다 would change to 원했다. That means wanted. And now we're going to see some more conjugation rules that overrides this rule that we saw right now. Yes, it might be a bit confusing, but then if you kind of compare these conjugation rules with the ones we learned when we were looking into 형용사, you would find a lot of similarities, and that's why I told when we were going through adjectives that it is better that you learn the first one well. So once you do that, the 동사 and the 명사 and everything coming after that gets easy. Like, just the first step is what is difficult, and when you get through the first step, things get easy. So our next conjugation rule is in the next page. So that is for those 동사 that has a bachim. So if it has a bachim, depending on the vowel at the end, of course, you can add two things. That is, if the vowel is a or o, you would add at. Or if the vowel is o, u, e, any of these, then you would add ot. So narida. Narida has this vowel a. So narida would become naratta. So we're adding this one. 살다, 살았다. 놀다, 놀았다. So both are the first one. 먹다 is the second one. So that would have this syllable. 먹다, 먹었다. 죽다, 죽었다. 들다, 들었다. So you have 들다 and 들었다. Be careful of this syllable, this word, because 들다 changes to 들었다, but we have another irregular 동사 which does not abide by any rule, and that is called 듣다. 듣다 means listen or hear, and 듣다 also changes to 들었다. So you have 들다 changing to 들었다 and 듣다 changing to 들었다. And in that case, the thing is, when you have a conversation or you hear something, depending on the context, you need to understand whether the person is, or the book or newspaper or whatever it is talking about lifting something or listening to something, or they're saying that they heard something. So that's all depending on the context. Depending on the context, you need to understand which of the meanings is happening there. So next is Merida, which becomes Mirota. And now we are going into, again, with no bachim. If you have no bachim and the last vowel is E, what you would do is you would just take that E off, and instead of that E, you would change it to yo. E would change to yo, and you would add 상시읒 as a bachim. So 달리다, so 달리 would become 달려, and once you add 상시읒 as bachim, it would become 달렸다. 빌리다, 빌렸다. 버리다, 버렸다. So 버리다 means throw, dump, abandon, desert someone, cast away someone, something like that. 이기다, 이겼어, or 이겼다. If you're saying 이겼어, it is spoken form, informal. 던지다, 던졌다, 다니다, 다녔다. Next one, once again with no bachim, but the vowel here is O. When the vowel is O, what you would do is you would change the vowel O to wa. And you would add sangshet as bachim, of course. When it comes to past tense, that is 과거시제, you have sangshet as bachim almost always. Like 99% of the time, you have sangshet as bachim, usually in the second last syllable, to indicate that it is 과거형. 오다 would become 왔다, and 보다, 봤다. So if you have seen any Korean dramas or films or heard some songs and noticed the lyrics, few words that you understand here and there, you would have probably heard the words 왔어, 왔다, 봤어, these words. And these words are exactly the same given here. You wouldn't say 오다 or 보다. And that would sound quite awkward. I don't know if it doesn't for new timers. But then for people who is used to Korean, that would sound a bit weird. And in that case, 왔다 and 봤다, I feel like they're also a bit more easier to say compared to the other alternatives. And next is, once again, you don't have a bachim, but then you have the vowel and changes to o. Changes to o, and of course you would add sangshet as bachim. And the examples are 크다, and 크 would change to ko, and you would add sangshet as bachim, and it would become 컸다. So 크다, 컸다, 쓰다, 섰다, 트다, 텄다. 예쁘다, 예뻤다. So 예쁘다 is pretty, and it is 형용사, and you can see the same rule as the one we saw for 동사 working for 형용사 too. And that's why I have been saying time and time again that there are so many similarities between conjugation rules of 형용사, 동사, and 명사. It's just when we look into it separately, it can feel like a lot, it can feel like it's so confusing, but then if we compare all of it, it's just like 3-in-1 packet. If you're opening one pack, you're opening your door to the other 2 packs. So next, this is pretty much what we saw earlier and talked about earlier. 하다 becomes 했다. So anything with hada at the end would become hetta, and the whole word would be converted into past tense by just changing that last two syllables, that is hada. And dutta, listen now, here is what I told about earlier when we were looking into thirda, which means left. So I'm repeating once again, be careful of thirda and thutta and dhiratta and dhiratta. Both mean different things, even though they are homonyms and their spelling is also the same. So that's it for today's share of conjugation rules. Feel free to leave any doubts in the comment box, and also, as usual, make as many sentences and conversations as possible to practice it so that you don't forget it, because it is a very basic topic, but it is a very important topic as much as it is basic. If you don't have the proper conjugation rules, even if you don't have it as rules as such in your head, if you can just convert it naturally because you're so used to it, that too would be a great thing. But there are people who rely on theories as their learning method, their learning style, to memorize and practice things, and that's why we are going through each rule in detail. If that is not your way of learning, you can just take that first table of verbs that I showed you guys and just try to change it to past tense and spoken form and written form and present tense and whatever it is, and check if you're getting it correct or not. And if you're not able to check it by yourself, you can leave it in the comment box and I can check it for you. So that's it for today's lesson. Let's see each other with some more conjugation rules in the next class. Thank you.